Okay, so that was a push through or a strip out false shuffle. I'm not going to talk about the cards or any of that kind of stuff. You can see that on the last video dealing with a shuffle sequence using a modified zero shuffle. This is going to be a short video. Just simple little ideas I have to make a push through shuffle easy. Okay, so first of all, let me talk about what a push through is so I don't mess up my deck there. If I make a mistake, I'll bring in this one's out of order, but we'll still do the shuffle. Let me turn sideways a little bit here. A strip out shuffle looks like this. You're going to take, I'm going to do this the way a normal person would do it, not the way that I do it. You take a half of the deck off to the right, the top goes to the right. You're going to drop a block from the right, probably about half of the cards. Then you're going to interlace fairly authentically, but kind of blockily for a little bit. And then you're going to drop probably the last few remaining cards in a brick, a block together, and then you'll drop a big block on the left-hand side. That's usually how people do it. Now the margins here might be smaller the more advanced that you are. I tend to make pretty big margins. The idea is that you only want to be interlacing a little bit. You can see there's only a little bit in there that's interlaced, and there's some pretty big breaks held by the blocked packets. Okay, so once you get to this point, what you're going to do is take your ring fingers and grab onto the top corners, the outside corners of each side. Some people use their pinkies. I use my ring fingers because it gives me cover on the end when I push through, and it allows me to push through a little bit more than most people would. So ring fingers out here, thumb on the middle inside. You're going to push them relatively straight together, and then you're going to push upward this way with your ring fingers, up and in. And then my thumbs are going to come to the center here so that the deck parts can pivot. I'm not actually exaggerating. That might look exaggerated, but it isn't. You really are just going to be pushing with your ring fingers and pulling with your thumbs on the incoming parts so that they can go through each other, about a finger width. So I pushed through, so out here my ring finger is hiding the fact that one part has come through the other. Once I get to this point, I just simply square up, and this is the part that I'm left in. At no time is the deck square in a push through, and contrary to popular opinion and belief, most people, even great pros, keep a margin about that big. You know, there are a lot of stories about keeping the tiniest little margin for a strip out or a push through. There's no need for that because you have full coverage on both sides from your fingers. So once we get to this point, you would then take the right hand packet, which is now has the top card, and you would strip that forward, and then you would take the what looks like the bottom packet, it's the left hand packet now on your left, and then place it on top, and that puts everything back in order. Now, ways to make this look as good but keep it simple. First thing, take a small packet from the right, about 1/3 to 1/4. So you're going to shuffle in a small packet from the right hand side. That's my first tip. Okay. Next, drop fully half of that packet. So now you're down to only a few cards on this side before you start to interlace, and then interlace really blockily. Okay. And then you drop a really big packet on the left. Another little tip that I'm giving you. Now the reason is because we want to minimize as much as possible the amount of interlacing that's going on and the number of cards that are being pushed through from the right. Okay, that should make this a lot easier for you. All right. Also, we're going to leave a big margin on the top because it's going to sell the effect of the cut at the end a little bit better if you do that. I'll show you how that is. Next, you follow the procedure I just described in exactly the same way. Now it should be real easy to push through because there's very low friction. You push through until you have this margin here behind the ring fingers, and then square up and pull. Now here's another tip. I've seen this before. I don't recall ever finding this specifically mentioned, but I've seen people do it. If you squeeze the deck and give a little bit of an arch like this on all the cards, it will insert a lot of air between those few cards that are interlaced. And that is going to make this very easy to strip out. It's going to come out smoothly, almost as if you're really cutting the deck. Okay? So you strip forward, and then you bring the back packet back on top, and you have completed the shuffle and the cut.